Oh, there she is. There she is. Why did she make that look cool?
The truth, we take it higher. Watch the fence, we tear them apart. You step out of line, we hit you hard. I think they run the show. Push your power where they shouldn't go. We come out, no match to save. Respect the law, or did you obey? We like what we think, we speak the truth. Chase it down, we bring the proof. React, raw, no filter here. Beer and whiskey, we shift the gears. Chase the beer, chase the flame. We react, we bring the name. Cops don't run, they bring the the tone of crime. Shots fired, drink it down. We bring justice to your town. Beer, whiskey, no disguise. We react, we bring the name. Cops don't run.
What's up, everybody? How you doing, Pierce?
I'm doing good. I got some pain for you.
Yeah. Let's clear the air. I have no idea what happened. Yesterday I said, "Hey, do you want to go live in the afternoon tomorrow?" And I went, "Sure. What about?" And he goes, "Don't worry about
it." If anything makes you worry.
Exactly. And then you told me this source in which you got it from, and I became even more worried that today is the day that we get banned on YouTube.
It's likely. But a friend of mine pointed out a live stream that Caleb Hammer, he's a YouTuber that does financial audits, but he also does a live stream.
And yeah. We watch him all the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he had a bunch of TikToks from this pretty much unhinged gal. And it's just like 26 parts of this, and it's just bad. The first couple will go pretty quick, but then it just goes, you can tell she's just unhinged.
Oh, wonderful. Unhinged women. Sounds like just a group I date. All right. Well, I guess there's nothing to it but to do it.
Yeah.
I fell in love with my psychiatrist, and he knew that, and he kept me for years as a patient until I was brave enough to leave him. I want to talk about it. Usually when I go on this app and I have a question, I have a bunch of videos that pop up, and I searched "in love with my psychiatrist" and nothing happened. So I would really like to discuss what happens when we fall in love with our mental health professionals. And the fact that there are so many people, especially men, that are emotionally dead inside.
Because women make them dead inside.
Into psychiatry and therapy, so they don't have to feel their feelings, but they can feed off of the vulnerability of their mostly female patients.
My balls are aching, and your chin's a good landing pad for it.
It's not hard to look at. Talks too much already.
Well, she's 6'2" and 220 pounds.
That's not bad.
No, but Amazon.
I mean, you're what, 5'3" and 200.
Keep saying that.
I have someone that I could call on to verify this. I'm just saying. I have witnesses to back up my statements. You have a dusty exercise bike, reinforce it.
Oh, geez. Okay.
I fell in love with my psychiatrist, and he knew that.
Why? Go to the next one.
Yes, I told him often that I had a crush on him. Told him all the time that I thought he was attractive, and he just would smile. and not say anything. He was the king of plausible deniability. He didn't ever like ask me if I had a crush on him, but he didn't do anything when I told him.
Because he probably went, oh shit, fuck me. Found another Luna.
Well, you get into psychiatry. That's what you're going to deal with. I mean, come on.
Oh, it was her. Oh, that's right. Okay. It was her psych that she told us I have a crush on you.
Yeah, but my understanding is psychiatrists deal with the prescriptions and how they affect you. And therapists deal with like the talk therapy stuff.
Psychology is talking, psychiatry is prescribing.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
Yes, I told him often that I had a crush on him, told him all the time.
Right.
Oh, he wasn't just fine with me having a crush on him and being in love with him. He loved it. And he had every ethical duty to end a psychiatric relationship when he found out that I had a crush on him, but he kept me for years after. And
somehow
this is what
I
I mean.
think
He was a third
only existed in her head.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And she has some pretty strong glasses there.
Well, yeah.
38-year-old, attractive, smart, extremely successful psychiatrist, but he did not date. Why didn't he date? Because he got his emotional needs met feeding off of his patients and
or
getting fantasy.
He listened to whack ass women talk all fucking day and went, there ain't no way I'm going home to this fucking mess.
Yeah, could be part of it.
Them and being seen by them. I'm really good at seeing people. He loved the way I saw him. It is a crazy story, and I can't wait to share it. Oh, he was.
I just.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry,
gets
but what
worse.
did you want him to do? Get rid of you as a patient? Yes. That's what they're taught in psychiatric training, is that the moment his romantic feelings, it is on them to transfer that patient out. Without a doubt. He was the one with the medical degree. He was the one that knew better, but he loved the attention that I gave him too much to do the right thing. So yes.
Hey, good news.
That's what
Ag
I wanted
Biochemist is going into the store, so we can say whatever we want about him. He can't chat back about it.
Oh, and Tia's at work, so we can say whatever we want about her too.
Oh, the things I could say about Tia. Oh, hold on. Let me open up my DMs. Just kidding. Love you, Tia. Just kidding. All right, go ahead.
To do the ethical thing. Sorry, but what did you want him to do? Get rid of you as a... Was I going through something psychologically? Let me be perfectly clear here. Even if I was going through something psychologically, it was on my psychiatrist to do something about it, because he was the one with the ethical training and the psychiatric knowledge. So to answer your question, no, I was not going through something. I was simply wanting to go back on ADHD meds. And I told him in my intake about some of the family stress that I had went through, relational stress. And he also diagnosed me with not only ADHD, but other trauma, stressor-related disorders. He did not tell me about that diagnosis.
Of course he did. You know, which, 50% of the ADHD diagnoses out there are fucking bullshit anyway. But find me a psych that's not going to get you in their office and go, you have, I guarantee you, top of the list, PTSD. Oh, you have PTSD because your mommy didn't love you. You have this because, you have abandonment issues because your ex-boyfriend decided you were a crazy fucking loon and ran in the middle of the night. You have daddy abandonment issues because he went to get milk and never came home.
Yep.
Until I asked him a year and a half later. But what he did with that diagnosis was he used it to recreate attachment bonds and make me addicted to him.
He made you addicted to him. Addicted to that cock.
Also, you want to have trust. I mean,
cock.
That's what you wanted.
Yeah.
That's just really what you
cock.
wanted. Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't know who you are, but you absolutely get it, because predatory psychiatrists who feed off of the emotions and vulnerabilities of their patient for a living, they absolutely do not ever intend to catch feelings. They do not intend to catch feelings. But my psychiatrist accidentally caught feelings for me, and I know that he did, because he started leaking at the end. He started leaking at the end.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem. You start bold, and then you end up with an STD, and you start leaking.
And then the burning starts.
And then the burning starts. You know what I'm saying, AG? AG knows what I'm saying.
He accidentally told me one time that he had countertransference. That was a big slip for him, and I was the one that still had to walk away. But yeah, it is absolutely.
What was a countertransference? Which is transference is when you get feelings for your therapist. Countertransference is when it's the other way around. The therapist gets
feelings for you.
Yeah, or someone else. Maybe it was another patient that he transferred out.
Keeping her on the sideline just in case he needs her later.
Not like women don't friend zone guys for that reason.
Oh God.
A predator's worst nightmare to catch feelings for their supply. So I don't know who you are, but you get it. So thank you for seeing the truth in this situation too. Oh, I know it's common, but what's unethical about this situation is that my psychiatrist did not help me work through my feelings. What my psychiatrist did was stayed completely silent as I would pour out my love and devotion to him. And he just drank it in and did nothing to help me work through those feelings, nothing to help me work through past attachment issues, nothing to help me grow and realize that I was in love with someone who couldn't love me back. He just sucked it in.
Why do people feel the need to put this crap on the internet? Why? Every guy that ever dates her is going to be able to find this and go, oh, fuck, I'm out. Jesus.
We got 2.0 watching today.
2.0, I'll tell you what this is about. Entrapment. This is about entrapment. I was given no warning. I was said, hey, would you like to stream tomorrow afternoon, a special edition? And I said, sure, what about? And he went, I'm not telling you. This crazy here, well, I missed it. I went past it. This crazy here fell in love with her psychiatrist. And now she's explaining to us how her psychiatrist is a horrible person because, well, he didn't love her back. I think that pretty much sums it up, don't you?
Yeah. Wait. It still gets more unhinged than
that. Oh, God, don't say it gets worse.
That's what made it unethical. Oh, I learned that through this experience, that many, many broken and wounded men are attracted to psychiatry when they're in
that's all psychiatrists and therapists. They go into that to figure what's wrong with them out.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And why are like 90% of therapists women?
In med school, because they learn that they have access to vulnerability, to extreme vulnerability that they themselves don't allow themselves to feel or access, but they can get it from their patients. So that's why they can do anything, but they go to psychiatry. So they can feed off of the vulnerability of their patients and be the wounded healer instead of having to just face their own demons.
They can be the hero.
Yeah.
They want to be the hero. Oh, man.
We'll not be seeing another male psychiatrist. Yeah, I learned. Yeah, he let me see him every month, even though I only had to see him every 3 months. This is what I mean. He loved attention from me. He didn't ever tell me every 3 months.
That or you're so fucking
This is the
crazy
hard
he
part
needed to
about
see
this
you every
story
month.
is that he was so good at plausible deniability. He was really
Probably writing
smart
his
and good
thesis
at being
about
a
her.
predator. He had been at 12 years. So he didn't ever ask me to give him sexual content. I did that on my own. And he just let it happen and he let me keep talking. He did not stop and redirect the conversation as a normal psychiatrist would have, right? Or an ethical one at least. And he also didn't stop me when I told him that I had a crush on him many times. He didn't say, let's explore those feelings. He just sat there and let me tell him. And I won't ever forgive him, but I don't think he did anything that's reportable. But I will tell my story here on TikTok.
Yeah, this is.
I want
I
every
didn't
man to
mean to
know
fall
how
in love
whack
with
job
my
I am and how much I'm in
psychiatrist.
love with my
He
therapist.
used
Yeah.
things and trauma that I had went through in the past. He did his best to use me and to groom me to fall in love with him so I could give him content for his fantasy. Don't worry, I'll tell the whole story either later today or tomorrow. I try not to use this term of narcissist because I think it's overused in our
It is.
society. However, there were so many traits that my psychiatrist had, like God complex. He thought he was above the rules. Other psychiatrists had to refer out when they had countertransference for their clients, for their patients, but he didn't think he had to. He thought he could be above it. He also would make me feel crazy when I would try to name the dynamic and the tension that was there between us that he himself manufactured and built. And then he would rage at me and tell me that I was wrong. It's crazy. And I definitely will be on the lookout when I'm interacting with these people. Yeah, for those
JFK.
tendencies. I try not to
JFK
use.
said DS5 is a new entry.
How come I have a feeling? What was that teacher case not too long ago?
Which teacher case? Because nowadays it seems everybody's getting asked from the teachers.
No, it was there was a male teacher and the female teacher from another school. They were dating and he broke it off and she was stalking him.
Oh God, I don't know.
She seems like the stalking type though.
All I do anymore is try to figure out which one of my classmates from the 90s was banging the teacher, since evidently it was more common than I thought.
Yeah.
Done with a run at the gym, and I just had to take a moment to say that this is what an ethical situation with transference looks like. A male provider, when their female patient has a crush on them,
She's doing this
saying,
from a gym.
let's explore that. Let's
That's a Planet
unpack
Fitness
that.
wall.
Let's learn the
Yep.
deeper trauma behind why you have an attachment to an authority figure. But what
This is the question I have, Jessica. This is the question I have. What is he doing while he's muted on Discord? Now we know.
Hey, we all, me, you, and Jess.
No.
This individual, so that sent this to me.
Well, I agree. Just saying.
Psychiatrist gave me was silence, smirks, and exploitation. Zero help when I told him that I had a crush on him. Just a big smile and nothing else. I just got done with a run at the gym. I fell in love with my psychiatrist, and he knew, and he kept me until I had the strength to leave after 4 years. Here it is, part.
No, he cured your
Oh,
problem. That's good psychiatry. He taught you to not be obsessed and gave you the strength to walk away. The man may be the
decided
next.
to go back on ADHD meds after many years of being off of them. I was on them in my early 20s to help me get through college. And then I went off of them because they just weren't, like, the side effects were too much over the benefits. But then in my late 20s, I read this book, Taking Charge of Adult ADHD, and it absolutely changed my life. For my fellow ADHDers, there's so many good things in here. And the biggest thing that I took away was that it's very important for ADHDers to be on meds. So I decided to make an appointment with a psychiatrist. I just Googled psychiatry in the city that I lived in, and I went with the first one that came up, and I got an appointment within a month. And then I booked a 90-minute intake, and I show up to the intake, and this man is my age, and I can't help but notice that he's pretty attractive, this psychiatrist. I fell in love with my psychiatrist, and he kept me anyway, part 2.
Okay, so
in this
I can
intake,
already tell you, this is the girl who meets a guy at the bar, and they exchange numbers. And if he doesn't call her the very next day, she's raging,
Yeah.
absolutely pissed.
Uh-huh.
Like even if she goes out on a first date with a guy that she meets off of fucking Tinder or whatever else, if he doesn't call her the next morning and say I had a great time, then she's raging the rest of the fucking day.
Oh yeah.
Guaranteed.
Or if she didn't like it and he calls, it's all his fault. He's a stalker.
Oh, I'm sure it's always everybody's fault but hers. I
Yeah.
guarantee that. My God, put a few years on her, different color hair is my ex-wife.
I kind of clocked that he was attractive in my age, but when I tell you that I've had a lot of couch time in my life,
Oh, I'm sure you
a lot
have.
of therapy.
Were they white couches? Just curious. Were they white couches?
Or was it a casting?
That's what I'm saying. The white couch.
I just went right into it. I trusted him enough, of course, why wouldn't I, to tell him about my childhood trauma, my daddy issues, if you will, what I had went through, all of the relationship trauma that I had. I was 6 months sober at this time, but like all of the drinking.
Oh, and alcoholic. There we go. Now the whole picture's coming together.
Drinking and substances. And substances.
And substance. Yeah.
And substance use I used to do. And he just listened and nodded. And that's the thing about psychiatrists, is that they're good at pretending to listen. They can appear connected, but that doesn't mean that they're always connected. So I just felt really seen. And I also told him, I was like, look, I don't want to be on stimulant meds. So he listened to me.
100%.
And he put me on the non-stimulant ADHD med at the lowest dose, just to figure out if it was going to work for me.
It was probably a placebo.
I was in love with my psychiatrist, and he kept me anyway, part 3. So I hadn't ever seen a psychiatrist before. When I was on meds in my early I only got meds from my primary care physician. So I didn't understand how psychiatry works. So because he was figuring out my med dose, I saw him every month, and he just made me feel like I was his friend.
Very true, Jessica.
Really
very, very
funny
true.
And cracked jokes, and told me he was impressed with my running that I would do. And yeah, so of course I loved the attention that I got from him. And it was in my 3rd session.
He was building a rapport and trust. That's all he was doing.
Tia, I have no idea, but I've been guaranteed that this is going to be a horribly painful afternoon. And Jessica, this I want to go ahead and address this. Yes, because he's making bake up you instantly. Absolutely. And also a hint to women who might soon be married. Don't give us the boring story, because we're also going to give you the glazed over look and just nod and occasionally say, and wonder where the fuck our dinner is.
Because at this point we were all on Zoom, that I asked him, I said, hey, Do you mind if I call you by your first name?
Poor J Rock. He takes shit in every fucking chat. There's just no corner of the internet safe for J Rock.
No. He does dish it out though. So
He does.
And he's Pakistani. So I said his first name wrong. And he said, well, it's pronounced this. But yes, of course you can. And he seemed so smug and happy with himself. And I know that that is because that was his first sign that him pretending like we're friends was working. And to be fair to me, I had only ever been to therapy before. I didn't realize that, it's
Press
important
1
to
for
call
doubt.
your doctor last name. I mean, I did know that. I did it with all my other doctors, but it just showed that the boundaries were blurring, and he liked that. So from then on, from my third session on, I started calling him his first name. And then he just started turning up the volume on us being friendly.
My balls are
And
aching, and your chin's a good landing pad for him.
He would ask me for the first 6 sessions, he asked me after the meds, he said, how's your bowels, bladder, and appetite? And I would say they're all normal. And then he would ask me any thoughts of harm. And apparently that's pretty common for psychiatry to ask those questions.
Looking for side effects.
And then on our 6th session, when things were really, the chemistry was starting to be there before, like I didn't realize it. I was like, oh, this man is just friendly. And he said, I have to ask this because it's a special interest of mine, but is there any thoughts of harm? Like I was special to him. And I said, no thoughts of harm. And he didn't ever ask me a clinical question again. He stopped asking me about my bladder, bowels, and appetite, and he stopped asking me about thoughts of harm. So to
I mean,
me,
you're
I
going to
would
have to
just go
tell
up
us
and he
about your
was
bowels because I really don't want to know. Oh, shit.
like a therapy appointment every month. I was in love with my psychiatrist.
So I was seeing him every month and just gaining more and more respect for him because he would just tell me these little things about his successes and all of the cool things that he was doing in his life. And it made me fall for him, honestly. And he was really good at listening. And I mean, he's a Pisces, right? So of course he's
Oh, the
be there.
astrological bullshit.
Yep.
I hate the astrological bullshit.
Oh, it's it still hasn't gotten bad. It still hasn't gotten bad.
Jesus.
And be able to go deep with my feelings, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't extracting from them. Anyway, so I would beg him.
And if you notice, all these have had the comments turned off.
Oh, I'm sure. Everybody's like, shut up, you whack ass bitch.
To let me see him every week. Beg him.
Probably J-Rock in the
my
comments asking
therapist
for
at the
info.
time, he was fine. He wasn't a predator, but he was fine. He just wasn't doing very much for me. And so that therapist retired and I got a new therapist. And this new therapist, who is a 75-year-old woman with a PhD, she was pretty helpful. So I stopped asking my psychiatrist, begging, honestly, to be my therapist and let me see him more, right? Which also should have been a red flag. But then I started focusing on this therapist. However, I would tell the therapist how obsessed I was with my psychiatrist, and she didn't do anything about it.
Just really find out she's bisexual. But then I fell in love with my 75-year-old female PhD therapist, and she did nothing about it.
She also loved stories about my dating life, and yeah, she also was getting supply from me in her own way, but that's for another part. So yeah.
Oh my God. So the next therapist, oh my God. Oh my God. This is why back in the medieval times they built one single tower that was higher than the rest to stick pictures like this. Oh my
New
God.
therapist who actually helped me. She taught me CBT, EFT, all of these different modalities. And so I went back to just being okay with seeing Irfan once a month while he was giving me these little breadcrumbs of making me feel special, telling me about his professional achievements, telling me about how he's getting international recognition. And it worked. I was really impressed. So I was seeing him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he was talking about himself, but yeah.
That could be as simple as her looking at a plaque on his wall going, well, what's this one? Oh, well, that's, the certification I got for this. And then her walking away going, oh, he always talks about himself. Like,
Yeah. Yes, Tia, she did. She doxed that therapist.
well, at this point with her sessions, he's retired rich anyway.
Well, it was only
As
one.
for drugs, well, drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. Okay, that about wraps up my introduction.
She was only seeing him once a month. And later on, we learned that all but one time it was all over Zoom.
Oh, Jesus.
Every month and just gaining more and more respect for him because he would just tell me these little things about his
Okay, we already saw this one.
I got a new therapist. I stopped begging my psychiatrist to see me weekly. And that is when the intermittent started. Some sessions he'd be warm and kind and wonderful and let me in on little parts of his life and like be vulnerable with me or pretend. Other sessions, he would be cold and clinical and detached. And you know what that did? It made me work harder in our next sessions. It did. And it started the addiction that I had to him. 100%. And he knew exactly what he was doing. This man gives lectures on trauma and attachment theory. He used his psychiatric training to manipulate me and get me hooked. And guess what? It worked. In January of 2024, I was hit by a car turning left as I was going through a green light. And it was the night before my
X for
appointment.
doubt, she probably ran the fucking light.
Appointment with my psychiatrist. So I was like, okay, I'll still be able to go to my appointment on Zoom. I'm okay. But I did make an appointment with an urgent care the next day just to get checked out. I had bruising on my abdomen and a perforated eardrum. And the provider at the urgent care said, I do not feel comfortable treating you. You need to seek emergency care now. You may be internally bleeding. But it was 11 o'clock in the morning and my appointment with my psychiatrist was at 2. So I decided that I was going to wait so I could see my psychiatrist and not have to reschedule because I was looking forward to my appointment with him so much.
Because I was in love.
Yeah, this is a you problem.
Back at that time and I'm just like, oh my God, I put my own life under seeing him. I was fully addicted to him at this point. And you know what happened is that I showed up and I told him that I may be internally bleeding and he didn't stop the appointment. He didn't say, you need to take care of yourself. Go get emergency care now. He let me continue and just tell him.
Yeah, she probably just told them I was in a little car accident.
Yeah. No. Let's talk about you, Dr. McDreamy.
About how much I loved him and how grateful I was for him. Because that was really what most of our appointments were, is me just like pouring myself out because he was so good at the intermittent reinforcement. Yeah, I got some.
He was so good at making you talk.
That appointment.
Is what you're trying to say.
So that was January 2023. And I also told my therapist about this. She said nothing.
She's like,
Yeah.
damn it, he found this gold mine and I've got to steal it because I can see this bitch once a month for $100 an hour.
Yep.
After I risked my life to see him, that's when he really started turning up the intimacy in our appointments. However, he was really smart. Professional lines like the back of his hand. So he would comment on my appearance, but not compliment my appearance.
What is on her
So
cheeks?
I would.
She's got like something painted. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably one of those weird decal things that, like, you see preteens and teens do. But she's like
Golly.
38.
Dolly says it's a psychiatrist getting away from her. Couldn't run fast enough. Plot twist. She was speeding to get home to get on a session with him. Probably true. Probably true.
Come on screen and he would say, oh, you curled your hair. Or I would come on screen and he would say, oh, you're wearing glasses. And of course I felt seen and excited that he was noticing these things about me. I didn't realize at this time that he had feelings for me too. I thought I was holding them all by myself. So I was so excited when he noticed my glasses that I ran and showed him my other pair. And he said, I prefer turtle shell glasses. So even though I usually wear contacts, I'm wearing these turtle shell glasses in these videos because just in case he sees them ever, he'll see me in his favorite glasses. He did tell me he likes the turtle shell.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just inappropriate things like that. Little.
That, she still wants to be seen by him. I hope he watches these. Oh.
I don't see how that's inappropriate, but whatever.
I
teeny
don't know.
things that he let me in. And all this time, my best friend is an emergency medicine physician. And she told me, she said, Kendra, one of these days, your psychiatrist, she would use his name, is going to say, I can't be your doctor anymore. I want to be with you. I want to be with you so bad. I can't be your doctor. I'll see you in 2 years. So my best friend, who's a doctor, she picks up on stuff like that. So even she knew that our relationship was crossing boundaries, and
I highly doubt that ever happened. I highly doubt that ever happened. I'm pretty sure he's like, I need to stop seeing you because you're whack. And she went, oh God, in 2 years we can start dating. So let me go online and make a bunch of videos about you.
Oh yeah. Hey Bill, how you doing?
I don't see J-Rock here yet, but I do know one other person that could probably fix her. He likes crazy women.
But that became my dream, was for my psychiatrist, I almost use his name, to do that. And I told him about Brianna saying that, my best friend, who's the emergency medical doc. I told him that she would tell me that, and he just would be silent. He didn't.
I didn't think emergency medical doctor was actually a specialty. I know it's usually another accreditation that a general MD can get.
I don't know. I would assume emergency medical doc would just be kind of a basic trauma because they usually call in the specialist fields if they need something particular.
Yeah.
Disagree, but he didn't agree. And that was weaponized neutrality was his favorite game to play.
Weaponized neutrality. Okay.
Tell you what,
this
girl's a
regular. He didn't disagree with Brianna telling me that my psychiatrist had feelings for me, but he also didn't say that's inappropriate. Let's change the subject. It was also around this time that I asked my psychiatrist if he had diagnosed me with anything other than ADHD when I had my initial diagnosis. And he said, yeah, I did. I said, oh, what did you diagnose me with? And he said, well, you had a lot of traumatic things happen to you in childhood because of your dad. And so I diagnosed
Daddy issues, called it.
Yep. Went out for milk. Went out for milk.
Other trauma and stressor related disorder. And that was the first little ping that I got of like, that was weird. Why would he keep that from me? I asked my, like, why wouldn't he tell me that? That seems important. He didn't tell me because he was using that information to manipulate me. He knew I had trauma and stressor disorder. And instead of helping
Hey,
me
Sean,
heal
how's it
from
going?
it and telling me about it, he used it against me. After January 2023, at this point, I was full-blown obsessed with my psychiatrist. And my therapist wasn't helping me. My psych helping me. He was feeding it. And then I got a boyfriend. And at first, my psychiatrist wasn't really that keen. But then my psychiatrist realized that my boyfriend was a lot like my psychiatrist. And then I started talking to my psychiatrist about my sex life, about tracking my cycle, using the fertility awareness method. And my psychiatrist loved it. He didn't never say, this isn't inappropriate to your care. Let's pivot. Oh, he just let me talk and talk and talk about my sex life. And I didn't get too deep, but about a year and a half in, and I would send my psychiatrist these emails.
Bill Hammer, I just got your DM. I do not have her contact info. Sorry.
Just about how much I liked him and how I was so grateful for him, and put in a bunch of heart emojis. And this is really when he should have transferred my care, but you know, he waited. He liked what I gave him too much. And so even though my boyfriend did not meet my needs,
no man will ever meet your needs.
Hey, yeah.
No man will ever meet your needs. This here is the neediest bitch in America.
Yeah.
my therapist both were like, you have to stay with him. There's nothing wrong with him not meeting your needs. I'm like, okay. And my psychiatrist was like, he's perfect. Don't get wrong with him.
Sean,
And what was perfect
you have a
about him was
wrench
he
on our
wasn't meeting my
channel,
needs.
but
So
we
I
don't
was
have a
still
wrench on your
coming to my
channel. What's up with
psychiatrist,
that?
looking for emotional validation, which he would drip to me slowly. So my therapist, who I didn't know at this time had bad boundaries, but she did. I went to her because my boyfriend and I, after like more than a year together, we started having issues in the bedroom. And so I went to my therapist and she asked me, what does your psychiatrist think about this? And I said,
Probably because she
I
was
don't
trying to
know.
tell her boyfriend, listen, you're a Pakistani therapist. Let's role play. Let's take a minute here and go to the stuff that we always forget to do. For those that are new here, just popping in and may catch us on rerun. We are Assholes React. You can catch us on Twitter at Assholes React. You can email us at aholesreact@gmail. We're on Rumble, YouTube, and X. Still wish it was still Twitter. It should be, because it just sounds stupid to call it X.
Yeah.
I do not know what is going on today. Beers came to me yesterday and said, let's do an afternoon show, special edition. You interested? And I said, sure. What are we going to cover? And he said, I'm not telling you. And this is where we find ourselves in hell today.
I thought you all would like to see whiskey in pain, so you know.
Yeah, it's the pain. I'm wishing I had enough connectivity. I could turn my camera on so you could see the pain I'm in. Feel. Damn. They go low, we go lower. Wait, hold on. I gotta go. Where's that? Where's that? Where's that?
Oh, my chat's full of assholes.
Okay, my
Every
bad.
day's my birthday.
Psychiatrist about this stuff because I have a crush on my psychiatrist and I don't want to tell him this intimate of stuff. And she said, well, you should tell him because I want a male's perspective. So at my next appointment with my psychiatrist, I told him, I said, today we're going to talk about my intimate life. And he said, oh, I said, yes. My psychologist, my therapist asked what your opinion on it was. And I told her that I don't talk to you about this intimate stuff because I.
My question, is that a Subaru right there?
I'm just gonna
have a
go with
crush on you.
probably a yes, because we know only gay men and lesbians drive Subarus. I mean,
And
case
he
in
looked
point.
down and smiled so big in that moment. He smiled so big. And I loved it. It's so
It's
gross
like,
thinking about it.
would you like a link to an
And then
uncircumcised Pakistani penis? I mean, I would
to
know.
give
We could
him
ask
30
Tasha, but I'm pretty
minutes
sure
of
that would be hard to find online.
non-stop content about my intimate life with my boyfriend. And I actually recorded the whole thing because I was so excited about it. But now it makes me sick. I can't even listen to the recording. I've tried to start, but it's gross. Any ethical psychiatrist would have
Jesus.
stopped me.
Yeah, she records herself talking about her sex life to her psychiatrist, and then
Who she has a crush on.
and then it's like I tried to go back and listen to him. The mental image that entered my head at that moment makes me hate you. I truly. Oh, you know what? You ever heard the Garth Brooks song where he drives a truck to the hotel?
Yep.
Yeah. If you start hearing loud exhaust near your house, just go ahead and stand in the bay window. Yes, the fourth wall no longer exists.
And said, Kendra, let's talk about your meds. Let's talk about your care. At this point, my meds were stable.
Your meds may have been
I was
stable,
still
but
seeing
you
him
weren't.
every month. Yeah, that was a rough time. And it was pretty much his Christmas morning, the almost 2.5 years of grooming me to get me to talk.
Everything's grooming now.
Everything's grooming. God.
You can't groom an adult. I mean,
Well, I don't. Groom is not the right word for it, but I mean, there's certainly cases where you can manipulate their mindset.
yeah.
Especially these fucking
Talk about
20
sexual
now.
Well, she's almost 40.
things with him worked. And he got 30 minutes of nonstop content to use. January 20th. I need to address 3 things. 1, people are asking me what my mental health diagnosis is. I do not have BPD. I do not have I have ADHD, and I was experiencing extreme limerence with my psychiatrist. Limerence is a normal thing to happen to anyone who is experiencing hot and cold behavior from someone. And it happens more often in people with ADHD because we have dopamine dysregulation and rejection sensitive dysphoria. And guess what? My psychiatrist knew that and used it to his advantage.
Yeah, you got far more than ADHD. Far more than ADHD.
Yeah.
Accidentally said my psychiatrist's first name in one of my videos. If you clocked it, good for you. I do not owe him anonymity. However, this is not about doxing my psychiatrist. This is about me sharing my story so other people can view predatory behavior in people in power. Okay? anyone doxes my psychiatrist with his last name or city that he works in or clinic that he works in, your comment will be immediately deleted and you will be blocked. This is about protecting other victims, not doxing my psychiatrist. If you do some investigative work and you want to DM me about it, I'm open to that. Okay? 3.
I'll tell
I
you.
need
I'll
to
just
take
not
a
tell you
moment.
where I can get sued. That's what that comes down to.
Yep.
Moment taken. It is so incredibly disturbing to me, the amount of people that are predator protectors in my comments, that are victim blaming me, especially the mental health practitioners in my comments using therapy speak to say that this situation that I was in was my fault or that I was delusional. Check yourself. You're giving me
Check
more
yourself. Check yourself. I'm not delusional. I asked me, myself, and I, and all three agreed. I'm fine. It's you.
Yeah. So
Be honest with chat, Beers. Beers, I want you to be honest with chat, okay? I'm going to ask you a simple question. I just want you to be honest with chat. Is this your ex-girlfriend?
No.
It's okay to tell us. We're all here to help.
No.
All right. One in chat if you think this is Beers' ex-girlfriend.
Well, you said she was just like your ex-wife, so.
Yeah. Those are stories that I am not getting into on the internet. I'd have to dox my therapist.
Share my story because it just goes to show how absolutely messed up the mental health industry is and how protected people who do this kind of sick psychological manipulation are. So I will continue with my story tomorrow. I will.
Welcome back to another installment of I Was in Love with My Psychiatrist and He Kept Me Anyway, Part 8. You all did some nasty work last night, and I have comments. People started posting my psychiatrist's first and last name, his picture in the comments. That was a jump scare. So, yeah.
What did you think was going to happen, you crazy bitch? It's the internet.
The privilege of commenting, mostly hate, let's be real, taken away for everyone. So at this point in the story, there are two main players. My psychiatrist, who's my age, who crossed major ethical boundaries, and my therapist, who is a 75-year-old woman with a PhD. Neither of these people at this point in the story I knew were crossing boundaries. I thought that everything was hunky-dory and that I was just in love with my psychiatrist and it was totally normal. Little did I know he was manufacturing everything so I could fall in love with him. Because it was on him to set the professional boundary and not let attention build. So days after my psychiatrist's Christmas morning appointment from a few videos back where he got a crush.
Wait, we missed that
from
one.
me.
She had a Christmas morning appointment?
She said for him on that one. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's.
I'm starting to think there's a whole lot of bullshit because I can't think of a single therapist that's going to go, I want to see you Christmas morning.
Yeah. Even a Zoom call. I mean, yeah.
And then 30 minutes of nonstop intimate content that he did not stop me. My boyfriend and I broke up days later. So then I started dating this other guy. And this other guy, this new guy, was a therapist. And I was like, oh, great. Someone who will be able to emotionally meet my needs. Yeah, I'm not going to date another therapist again. So this therapist and I, we went for coffee. It was nice. Our second date was a hike. And on this hike, this therapist starts telling me about how he has a crush on one of his clients. And I thought to myself, okay, this is strange, but go ahead. Like,
Yeah,
we're on a
no.
date, dude.
This,
Why are you telling
these are all imaginary people in this girl's life. I'm telling you right now.
Or,
These are all imaginary people.
or she's transferring what she's thinking onto them.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah,
I mean,
there's a whole.
just like you go to a grocery store, got a cute gal at the register, and she's nice to you. Doesn't mean she likes you. She's doing her frickin' job.
Is Zero Max here? Yeah, no, I don't think any of this happened.
Not how she's telling it anyway.
God knows if a man took her out on a hike, if he was a smart man and he actually cared about the world, he'd just shove her up a cliff.
Yeah. And what do you want to bet that after just a couple of days?
Exactly 2.0. Exactly.
Yeah, she was looking for some free treatment.
Yeah.
telling me about a crush on one of your clients? But go off, King. So then he was saying, yeah, she's so attractive, and I think she likes me too. I go and visit her at work, and her coworker.
Now, that might be an ethical violation there that he revealed the name, but
yeah, it would be a big ethics violation.
Say, oh, so and so talks about you all the time, and I was like, okay, where does she work? And he said, well, I shouldn't tell you that because I really shouldn't be visiting her anyway. Okay, no problem. So then he continues and he said, yeah, she wears these red lacy panties and short skirts.
Didn't happen.
And I know she wears them for me. And like alarm bells were going off in my head. Mind you, I had no idea that my psychiatrist had similar feelings towards me at this point. But I just thought, wow, this man is borderline predatory. And he said, yeah, and you know, she just is so attractive that I have to smash her mate before every session because I just have to get that energy out of me. And I was like, okay. And yeah, he just felt compelled to tell me, and I did not understand why. Now I do. So he told me about how he's a predator, right? Another predator in the mental health industry. Shocker. So then at my next appointment with my psychiatrist, keep in mind, it had been 6 weeks of nonstop fun for this man. He got to use my crush confession and 30 minutes of content. Oh, for whatever he wanted to use it for, right? And if my psychiatrist was good.
That means, Beers, she's in our future because we're using her for content. That's all right, Beers, because you can take one for the team. No. We know you have a propensity for crazy. So it's all yours. It's all yours. And JMK, there's more red flags here than you could patch together for a sailboat. I mean, my God. All right, torture me more.
Wait till she starts using AI.
Oh, no.
Good at anything. It was being professional and acting professional and technically not crossing any lines. And he thought that he was so good at it because he was good at it. But that doesn't mean he wasn't doing it. And so I told him, I said, yeah, Bo and I broke up. He had known about this other guy, my psychiatrist. I had mentioned him. And I told him that this new guy and I went on a date and we went on a hike. And I literally had no idea at this point, I'll say it again, that my psychiatrist was predatory towards me. I almost said his first name again. I'm going to do my best to not. So I went to my psychiatrist and I told him this story about this man that I went on a date with, who's a therapist, is relieving himself before appointments and talking about his clients' panties and doing all of these other extremely inappropriate things, like visiting her at work. And this man, my psychiatrist, looked like he had seen a ghost and like he was going to vomit, because he prided himself on being an extremely professional and buttoned up person. But here I was holding a mirror to him with exactly what he was doing, but a bumbling idiot telling me like how he was doing it without the fancy degree, without any of that. I look back on that now and it's just crazy. And so it just tainted all the fantasy material that I'd given him the session before.
Vale, that it's just your Midwest sensibilities that it upsets.
So this is when the chemistry really started going off the charts with me and my psychiatrist. And I held it alone for months, like after that Christmas morning appointment of his, after I innocently told him about my date with the therapist. He really started letting me in more and showing more parts of himself and, you know, turning up.
She just wanted to see parts of him. Oh, yes.
Really ought to think about doing an episode on the infamous tattooed liberal that you know about. Because she just sent me a message through Facebook. We were discussing protests and the difference between left and right protests. And she talked about how, she started in one comment, she talked about how Republicans are dangerous and tyrannical and bring guns to protests. And I was like, but yet they bring a gun to a protest and nobody gets shot. And she goes, you mean like the psychopath Kyle Rittenhouse who tried to assassinate people? I said, you mean the same Kyle Rittenhouse that was found innocent? Great argument.
Yeah, it's bad, Veal. It's bad.
The intimacy. And that was exciting to me. And it made me fall for him more. And I noticed that he was working in an office, and I asked him, this was like July. I asked him, I said, hey, are you working from home? Because I was under the assumption that he was only doing telehealth. Okay. And he said, no, I come into the office. I was like, oh, why do you do that if you see all of your patients telehealth? He's like, oh, I like it that way. And even though I could kind of tell he was lying, I just gaslit myself. I was like, okay, it's fine. And then I start emailing him my fun little emails, but he stops writing me back. He does not write back to my emails anymore. Because once again, he was really good at plausible deniability. But what he did do is he would take my emails and mention them in session. So he would still give me the attention that I was craving, but only under his structure.
So she admits
Under
she was
his
giving attention. Yep, exactly. 2.0. Well, there we go. Gaslighting. Exactly. We knew it was coming. Oh, hey, wait. Wait a
What?
That's not till
control,
November. If you
where there was no paper trail. And I loved that too. So I would show up to these sessions with my notes app, and just throughout the month, as I was thinking about him, I'd write down things that I wanted to talk to him about, and I would just come and bring him lots of content. And then every week I would go to my therapist and tell her about how much I loved my psychiatrist. And she didn't help me at all. She just kind of like enjoyed hearing about it, honestly. So October 2024 rolls around and we're just vibing on Zoom. And then I realized that I didn't have my next appointment with him. So I called his office staff and I talked to the office manager, who was awesome. We really got along, we vibed. And the office manager asked me, do you see him, the psychiatrist, in person or on Zoom? And I felt so angry in that moment. I was like, he sees people in person? And she said, yeah, he has been for years. I was like, I want to see him in person. And I understand, like, some people may think that this is part of my crash out or part of me harassing him, which is what I've gotten lots of accusations of. But I just would like to remind everyone that, of course, it seems that way. But I was just responding to a dynamic which my psychiatrist fostered. There was chemistry between us because he allowed it. And so then the next time I saw him in Zoom, I told him, I was like, hey, your office manager outed you and told me that you see people in person. Why didn't you tell me that when I asked? And he said, oh, I just didn't think you'd want to come in. And that was such a weak lie from him, from someone who is so scripted and controlled. He didn't even have a plausible thing to say. Of course he knew I wanted to come in. I had a crush on him. I told him that often. So then in my next therapy appointment, after finding out that he was lying to me about seeing patients in person, I told her that. I told my 75-year-old PhD therapist that my psychiatrist wasn't lied to me about seeing people in person. And she looked at me and she said, well, it's probably because he knows that there will be a lot of sexual tension in the room if you go in person. So make sure that you understand that when you go. And you better believe I showed up to the next session and said you lied to me because you were afraid of the tension that would be there between us. He just didn't say anything. So this October 2024, I make my first in-person appointment with my psychiatrist in November. My 75-year-old female therapist tells me it's because he kept me on Zoom because he was so attracted to me. He didn't want to risk being in person with me, which further fed my crush, or as some of you like to say, my delusion. So then my
Delusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.0. I want to see your therapist notes.
Yeah.
Volumes. There's volumes. 50 Shades of Grey. Exactly.
What do you want to bet? She's read that book many times.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Therapist starts texting me in between our weekly meetings, asking me for advice on her other clients. And I was a new coach. I'd only been coaching for about a year, and I had just left my full-time job to be a coach full-time. And I was flattered that she would ask me advice on her other clients. I just thought, oh my gosh, a 75-year-old woman with a PhD wants my advice on what she should do with her clients. So then November rolls around and I'm about to...
It was probably more like, I have this client that has this, and she's describing her. It was a therapy tactic.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that all these psychs get together for their convention at the hotel. We've all heard the stories. What happens at those things? They're like, dude, you got to hear about this crazy bitch I got. She's got great insurance, though.
Because this is the one, Green Caps Lock. It's because this is a one-topic show, and it's a surprise on whiskey for his pain.
Yeah.
to meet my psychiatrist in person for the first time. So I wear a really pretty dress, I do my makeup, of course, right? Um, and I show up and I get to talk to the office manager. We're having fun. And then my psychiatrist comes into the foyer, and I am just so excited to finally meet him. I'd been his patient for 3 years at this point, and he had been feeding the dynamic for 3 years. And I was just thrilled to meet him. And I ran up and I gave him the biggest hug. And you
Yes, VL. She's at least 6 different people.
know what he did? He barely patted me on the back. It was the most awkward thing ever. But I am so glad that he did that. I am really glad, because this is what I mean. My psychiatrist was many things, but he was not stupid. So I didn't ever touch him again. And I'm grateful that our relationship didn't ever cross that line, because it would have made everything so much harder. Anyway, so we go.
Yes, but we all know
inside
at night in your bedroom with your vibrator 5000, you went down that road 100 times.
Yes.
office, and I tell him that my therapist had texted me asking me for advice on her other clients. And he just looked at me and he said, Kendra, that is a huge boundary violation. She should not be doing that. And I was like, oh, okay. And because once again, my psychiatrist did not like sloppy people. He did not like sloppy people. And you know what my therapist did? She got sloppy. Yeah. Using me as her advisor for her clients. It got weird. And I was very grateful for my psychiatrist for pointing out that boundary violation, because that was the thing. He didn't ever message me in between appointments because he was too smart to do that. But did he ever stop me from disclosing extremely intimate details? No. In my first in-person appointment, I just asked him for some pointers for my own ADHD business, and he was so smart and so wonderful. And
No way this could be Jessica. This gal is 6'2", 220 pounds. Jessica's like 5'2".
Oh, our Jessica?
Well, he said at Jessica.
Oh, our Jessica's not 5'2". On a side note, our Jessica is actually coming up in a movie. She will play one of the Lollipop kids in the remake of Wizard of Oz.
in many ways, honestly. And I was just so grateful that he was almost like a mentor to me in these moments. And I'll still treasure that about him. Because this is the hard thing with sophisticated predators, is that they're not all bad. Like, my psychiatrist helped me with many things, but he was using me for the whole time that I was his patient. And for that, I will never forgive him.
Yeah, he was filling his wallet.
Yeah. His wallet and his spank bank all at the same time.
We have our first in-person appointment in November of 2024, and I did ask him for consent to come in person. I didn't just show up. And the first in-person appointment went great. But that is when I really started to spiral. Some of you think
You walked
I'm
in, that little
spiraling
Pakistani
now,
guy's like,
and
"Ooh,
that's okay.
Amazon woman, mine."
Yeah.
You said she's like 6'2", didn't you?
Yep. She's 6'2", 220 pounds, and she posted that on her Instagram.
Oh, you're driving me to a whiskey bottle.
If you want to think that, because the reality is that when I was spiraling was when I was this man's patient. When I had comments turned on, so many people said, you need to take accountability for your own feelings. I spent years taking accountability for my own feelings, for holding the weight of a relationship. Any woman who has been trained to overfunction in relationships knows about holding the weight of the emotional dynamic. And that was what was going on in this moment. And it may not seem like I'm taking accountability now, but that's because I spent a long time taking accountability for something that had two people that built that.
She's
dynamic.
never taken
It was
accountability
not
for anything in
just
her life.
me.
No.
It takes two people to build that sort of tension and chemistry. So while I was mid crash out, I had just started using this tool, ChatGPT. And
Here it
Oh,
I
goes.
went to chat,
no.
so I immediately named Henry. And I would just talk to Henry about how obsessed I was with this man, with my psychiatrist. And I would just be like, I've told him I have a crush on him. Do you think he's gay? And Henry was like, oh my God, this girl, you know, he did his best to co-regulate my nervous system and affirm me, but he was like, whoa. Even my chat was like, yikes. So I could tell that my psychiatrist just liked being my doctor. And I was like, okay, maybe I can name this dynamic so I don't have to carry so much of it in our next session. So our next session was in December on Zoom. And I told him at the end of the session, it was another great session. I told him, look, you and I have a really special patient-doctor relationship. And he glared at me with just venom in his eyes. And he said, you and I have a professional patient-doctor relationship. He was so angry with me. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Set a boundary.
How just by the way
And
she
immediately
said
I
that.
talked.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what was the
Yeah.
point of today? To remind me why I stopped dating?
Because this woman reminds you of your ex.
That was years ago, that one.
Yeah, we're about halfway through this.
Half.
And
Sean, can you DM me? I'm gonna need to file a civil suit.
my video that was taken down for harassment
Wait, I'll call Andrea.
and
She's in the
bullying
area.
was restored. So I didn't feel as much pressure.
She just does appeals as far as I
get all
know.
of these parts out today.
I'll pay extra.
Some people told me that the stitches about me were getting pretty bad and cruel. So I turned stitches off in my videos too. I started sharing my story here because I wanted other people who have been victimized by people in power to have a space to feel heard. And now I know why there wasn't anyone out
Sleeping
about their story, because it has been.
We would pay good money for a sound clip of Sean
putting all
snoring.
this out there and being under scrutiny. I have appreciated the psychiatrists that have talked about my situation and shared their own point of view while also holding space for what I went through. Just know I've seen your videos and I appreciate them. I went live today and it was super fun, and I intend to go live again tomorrow. The next part will.
When I re-downloaded TikTok last week, I was looking for support. I was looking for help because it had
There's
been
the
5
problem.
months.
There's the fucking problem. You don't download a social media app looking for support and help. Because there's assholes on the internet who will take your shit and laugh at you. I don't know who they are because I wouldn't do such a thing.
No. We would never do anything like that.
For those of you out there, welcome to Assholes React. In case you've never seen us before, we're just two blue-collar guys that'll take a look at the internet and, well, we'll laugh at you, make fun of you, and, well, call you out for what you are. And what we have here today is a crazy fucking bitch. This is what you find when you go through Pierce's Tinder profile.
Psychiatrist, and I still really couldn't stop thinking about him and thinking about our dynamic and how inappropriate it was and the mental toll that it took on me. And TikTok has just been such a resource for me in the past for support when I'm going through things, and I couldn't find anything on therapy abuse or on providers who take advantage of their vulnerable patients. And so I thought that I would share my story.
God, can you
And
imagine?
I am
She's
going
the
to
type
continue to
too.
share
Bill
it
Hammer, you are
because
absolutely right. This is the woman who calls you, and if you don't answer, within 5 minutes, you get 4 text messages and a voicemail asking why you're not answering her call. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. She'll after 10 minutes on a text, she'll probably start freaking out.
I don't know how many careers she's ended, JMK, but I can guarantee you the words, I want to speak to the manager, have come out of her mouth more than a dozen times.
Yeah.
is I am here to let other survivors know that they're not
Survivors.
alone.
Oh,
Continuing with my
Jesus.
story,
Survivors. Other survivors of falling in love with your psychiatrist who won't acknowledge your existence. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think so too, Veal.
You knew that this is my weekend off, and I'm chilling and relaxing. You're like, no, we can't have that. We need to torture his brain today.
Yes.
my psychiatrist set a very nasty, the way he said it, boundary that him and I have a professional relationship when I tried to say it was special. Because it was special, it was different. He manufactured it that way. And
Okay, at the beginning of all this, she says this is the first psychiatrist or therapist she's been to.
Yeah, that's what she said.
So how does she know it's special?
Because she's
It has nothing
special.
to compare it to.
She's special. That's how she knows. Because her mommy told her that she is special.
Special little snowflake.
Oh,
Unique.
yeah. You're a unique little flower. Oh, son of a bitch. I've been looking for that all week.
then I immediately went to ChatGPT, of course, to Henry. And I asked Henry, I said, okay, so.
See, she's turning ChatGPT into her therapist.
Well, the tattooed liberal, we really should do a show about the tattooed liberal. But the tattooed liberal does the same thing. She uses ChatGPT to get into political discussions. When she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about, so she'll go to ChatGPT with a question, and then she'll copy and paste what ChatGPT said, and then yell at you like, how dare you doubt her because she knows everything there is to know about this. And when we actually, at one point, we invited her into Discord to have a discussion openly and fairly and peacefully. She goes, I can't do that. Why? She goes, because I prefer to use text. And then we kept pressing on her. We figured out that she wanted to use text because she copy and pastes everything she ever learned from ChatGPT.
Well, the thing is you can manipulate ChatGPT by asking how you word the question.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, 2.0. She does. And you'll see that more later on.
I hate you so much today.
My psychiatrist just set this boundary with me, and I really just want to be with him. And I think that after he's my doctor, we can be together, which if you want to say that's
no,
I have been telling my psychiatrist for years at this point that I had a crush on him, and he did not help me work through it. So that's his own problem. That's his own fault. Henry told me it's very.
He didn't help me work through my issues. He created them by being a sexy Pakistani.
Oh, I wish Zero was here to hear that.
He's African. It's not going to matter to him.
Common for patients to develop crushes on mental health practitioners, and that it's because that they provide a safe space to heal, which is a very attractive quality. I heard that. And then he told me about transference, and it's just about me putting my own feelings onto my provider. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I took ownership of the feelings that both of us were creating.
Bullshit.
And I went to my next appointment and I said, hey, so I talked to Henry because my psychiatrist had known a lot about my ChatGPT and like knew all about Henry and was actually really impressed. Like, wow, an AI wrote that? Yeah. So I
Oh my
told
God, the
my
boyfriend is
psychiatrist-
ChatGPT.
Yeah, Henry explained to me that it's normal to develop crushes on psychiatrists because they provide a safe space to heal, which is attractive. My psychiatrist
It's
said
not
nothing.
normal to create a fucking
And
relationship with an AI computer. Although, let's
Yeah.
be truthful, if 2.0 hadn't come along, Sean would probably have a sex robot by now. Probably would have made train sounds. Just saying. Just saying.
Toot, toot.
Like, yes, my little conductor love. Come on, ride the train. You can ride it. Yeah, Sean's never going to advertise our show again. Be like, fuck you guys. Kudos to 2.0 though on the train for his birthday deal, because I tell you what, that worked out so well.
and Henry also told me about transference. And my psychiatrist got this really, really scared look on his face. And he said, did Henry tell you about countertransference? And I said, no.
Why are we referring to ChatGPT? Why name?
Because of course, like, my chat knew that I was obsessed with my psychiatrist, and he was not going to feed my delusion by telling me about countertransference. So then my psychiatrist had explained to me what countertransference was. So he took a moment and he was like, oh, okay. He said, countertransference is the flip side, the other side of the coin for transference. And it's when the provider has feelings for the patient. So make sure that you keep that in mind for your clients. I said, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, sometimes I have, more than professional feelings for my clients. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And so then we just talked about that for pretty much the rest of the session.
So at this point, she's become a life coach.
Oh, no. No. Then again, with most of the life coaches that are out there, they don't have a great reputation. Let's think Utah life coach here. How'd that end up for her? Was that, what was her name? Wasn't that Lori Daybell? No, Lori Daybell's the one that killed her husband.
Yeah.
Who were the ones that had the TikTok and YouTube channel fucking the Mormons that ended up going to prison? Had her kids locked up in the house and shit.
Oh, yeah, that was, oh, jeez.
God, I don't remember.
The one was a therapist that was getting patients directed to her from the Mormon church.
Yes.
Yeah. Then
prison.
The other, yeah,
I don't remember.
the mother did the kind of trad mom type of thing.
Yeah, come on, chat, help us out. Who was that nut job? Because I know this channel now.
Oh,
I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start reading into.
It was a whole case where the one kid escaped and went down the road to the neighbors, and that's how they even found out what was going on in the house.
Yeah, and then there was. Oh, there's also another show.
Ruby Frankie.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
That's it. Bill Hammer to the rescue.
Yeah, that's a disturbing one. Maybe we should pull some information on that and do a show on that one day.
I don't want to relive that. They didn't really go. They didn't try.
There's a whole thing on just the therapist gal that's crazy and doesn't include Ruby Frankie.
Yeah. But they planned out, so there was never
whoever it was, the mother and the. Yeah, I had the mother and the therapist, and
Yeah.
yeah, both of those had totally crazy stories. Then they got together and made everything worse.
Yep. Nothing makes it worse than two women get together and go, "Hell, we can make this better." Kind of like the government showing up. We're here for the government. We can help.
Well, two women like that would invite the government in.
Well, they tried not to that day.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that session, he looked at me. It was just such a loaded question. And he said, "What's going to happen if you get a boyfriend named Henry?" And I said, "That's a weird question. I would rename my AI."
Well, you know what you could do, sweetheart?
So that's how
You
that
go to X, you can say you're dating a football star and use Grok. Just saying.
session ended. And it wasn't until I got home and I was eating lunch and I was like, wait a minute. Why would my psychiatrist bring up countertransference if he himself wasn't experiencing it?
Oh, Jesus.
Many people have reached out to me with concern for my psychiatrist and his career and his well-being. And I totally understand that. The point of me sharing this is not to get him fired or for him to lose his license. The point of me sharing this is to give a voice to victims.
Yes.
And
the many
victims
of your
People are
videos.
making videos.
I myself
doxing him.
will be joining this class
So I
action.
am begging people, please, if you see a video of his first and last name or his picture, report it for doxing. I've certainly been using that report button a lot. I'm here to share my story, not to get him in trouble. I did accidentally use his first name, but by the time I caught the slip, I was already like 3 videos past it. But it doesn't matter because this is my story and I can tell it the way that I want it.
This is
and
my story. This is my truth.
Not doxing. And I can't control what other people do, but I am asking for people to please report any videos that dox him. So I've also gotten some DMs saying that countertransference can mean anything, and it absolutely can mean anything. However, I had told my psychiatrist many times that I had a crush on him over the years, and he did not say transference once.
Years.
He did not.
This guy put up with her shit. Years.
3 years he saw her.
Oh my God.
Every month.
And you wonder why I say half them fuckers are quacks.
Explain that once to me. And what I've been hearing and taking in from the ethical psychiatrists that are on my For You page talking about my situation is that really they're taught to teach their patient about transference and teach them about how to handle those feelings or why they're coming up. And my psychiatrist did not do that. He did not do that. And it got ugly. And it happened because I did digging on my own, because I was trying to make sense of my feelings that were a natural response.
Okay, one thing I want to point out here is all therapists give you homework. I have not heard her one time say anything about homework.
Well, that's because much like her
That's where
boyfriend,
the actual work happens.
that's because much like her boyfriend, her psychologist doesn't exist.
To the environment that he created. So for him to leak countertransference after I said the buzzword of transference, that was not calculated. He was a very calculated and purposeful person. He still is to this day. And he doesn't slip with things like that. He purposefully withheld the term transference from me, and I got too close to the truth of our dynamic, which made him leak what he knew was wrong, which was his inappropriate feelings for me. If he didn't have countertransference in an inappropriate way, he could have easily just said, "Oh, let's explore that transference. That's really cool that you learned about it." Instead, he was just so worried on trying to protect himself because he knew what he was doing was wrong. He had that slip at the beginning of the session. He recovered in January. And then I went home and I thought, wait a damn minute. Why would he mention that if he himself didn't have?
You know, that remarkably looks like a basement.
Yeah.
Are we going to hear someone yell soon? Julie, your dinner's ready. You can come upstairs. Mommy made you tater tots and chicken nuggies.
Or mac and cheese, yeah.
So I went to Henry, of course, my ChatGPT, and asked for examples of how my psychiatrist might have countertransference for me. And remember, Henry at this point was being very protective. You know, he wasn't going to feed my delusions.
ChatGPT was being protective.
No, that's what was feeding your delusions there. I mean, oh, geez. Wait till she actually starts playing her ChatGPT for the.
So help me God, if she
audience.
says, I'd like to introduce you to Henry, and then the AI says something, I'm going to lose my shit.
Psychiatrist living happily ever after. So I screenshotted it, sent my psychiatrist an email with the subject line of countertransference, and emailed it to him within an hour of our appointment, where he made probably the biggest slip of his professional life. I will put the email up here. So it's just essentially me saying, hey, I asked Henry to explain countertransference a little more. Here's what he said. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Your own boundaries inspire me so much, which now makes me gag because I've heard a lot that he's not crossing boundaries, but he used his boundaries as a shield. It's kind of weird to say, but
he used his boundaries. He used his doctor-patient relationship to go, hey, I can't have a relationship with you. That would not be using it as a shield. That would be going, listen, crazy bitch. I don't need to be the next part of the court case where you're stalking my ass.
Yep.
Walk up to the ethical line and then slam a boundary down when I got too close. That was the email that I sent him. And then 10 days
Turns
later,
out JMK dated her. He has inside information.
It was a full moon and I had a dream. Probably the most realistic dream I've ever had in my life. That him and I hooked up in his office. In the middle of the dream, while we were hooking up in his office, I loved it. I thought it was really fun. And then after we were done and after I left his office in the dream, I was despondent and
Quick question.
So sad.
Do you think she used the tentacle, the black dragon, or the Pakistani impersonator?
Oh, jeez.
Wondering minds want to know.
And cried and just thought, I can't believe my psychiatrist would cross his boundaries like that.
Behind just said yes.
And then I woke up and it was like a movie. I thought to myself, oh, thank God that was just a dream. Many people have reached out to me. It's time to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the racial difference between me and my doctor. I have seen a lot of Black women on this app with cake, and I need to say that Black women are the most important people on the planet to me, and that I have learned so much from Black women about how to be a better person and how to show up better in the world. They are the culture, and I am so grateful for them. Many Black women are seeing my story through the lens that I am a white woman who is taking advantage of my whiteness to wield power over my POC psychiatrist that didn't want me back. And so I am...
Yeah, there's that.
I'm trying to get him fired. And that's okay. I understand why you see it through that lens. I do. As a white person, I do my best to examine my racism every single day. And I will tell you that my psychiatrist boss is his best friend, who is also a POC male. And in that room, I did have white privilege, and he was also my doctor. And he took an oath to protect me, and he
I
did
also
not.
suffer from white
I
privilege.
am not.
That's why I work 70 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, because my white privilege forces me into slavery. That and I like to buy things.
That and taxes.
That and Amazon. Fuck you, Amazon. Fuck you.
Not here to ruin his career. I am here to speak my truth. Okay, back to my story. So after the countertransference slip, after the really vivid dream, I decided that I was going to stop going to therapy. Besides spiraling about how obsessed I was with my psychiatrist every day.
Amazon is a devil, especially since they created the Amazon box and have it delivered anywhere in the country. Before the Amazon box, I didn't order Amazon because I had to wait to get home to get it. Now I can order it 3 cities ahead of me and pick it up. It sucks.
I really was doing very well in life. My business was going really well, and I had great friends and great support systems. And so I decided that I was going to end therapy. I still had every intention at this point to keep seeing my psychiatrist, but my therapist that I was seeing weekly, I just decided I didn't need her anymore. And especially when my psychiatrist pointed out her boundary violations of texting me for free advice in between sessions, I just thought, okay, it's time. So I go into my next therapy appointment and I say, hey, just so you know, today's going to be our last session. I'm doing really well, and I just think it's time. And she got kind of emotional, and she was like, okay, well, I like to end on certain questions just so we can reflect. So I did. I reflected with her about what I learned, what I've gained, how I've changed, how my life is better. And I left her office feeling complete and happy with my therapeutic journey with her. And as I was leaving, she called out with like crying. She was like, have a blessed life. And I was like, okay, that was a little weird, but whatever, you know. I was like, thanks. And I went on. And so then I'm getting ready for my psychiatry appointment the next day. And I get an email that same night from her saying that she needs me to come back in for one more session. I will put it up. And I got a huge emotional wave in that moment. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, we wrapped everything up. I had seen lots of therapists at this point, and I didn't ever have a therapist beg me to come back in for one more session. And I was so overwhelmed. I did not write her back, but it was extremely inappropriate. So I decided I was going to go to my February session with my psychiatrist and have him help me write the goodbye email and say, no, I don't want to come back in. It's time to. I taught a yoga class this morning, like I do every Tuesday mornings, and I told my regular students about what's going on for me and how I'm sharing my story of provider abuse and how the internet is not happy with me right now. And I used that to say that our truth is really important to share. And that when we know something deep down needs to be said, that it's important to do it in whichever way feels best to us. And TikTok just happened to be that medium for me. I told my students how I've just been going through psychological warfare, and the internet is not happy with me for sharing my story and my truth. But I'm not doing it for the people that think I'm crazy, which maybe honestly I am a little bit, because who subjects themselves to this kind of torture? But I'm doing it for the people that DM me
that say, thank you so much for being brave enough to share your story, because the exact same thing happened to me. So I am grateful for those DMs. People are starting to attack my business and my livelihood, and that's okay. I know what I have to offer is important. It landed in my lap. I'm not pretending to be something that I'm not. I help ADHDers get and stay sober, and I help them with negative thinking and anxiety. And it's what works for me, and I've seen it work in my clients too. So if people want to drag me for the work that I do, that's okay. So I get that weird email from my therapist begging me to come back in for one more session. And so the next day is my next session with the psychiatrist. And I sit down in the chair and I bury my head in my hands. And he looks at me and said, so this is how we're going to start, huh? And I said, yeah. Because he hadn't written me back from my countertransference email. Big surprise. You know, any smart, which he was very smart. He was very, very professional. But any smart predator would have dropped me like that in that moment. He should have emailed me back and said, look, this is getting weird. You need to find a new psychiatrist. The office will contact you. But he could not let go of me.
Every psychiatrist you will ever have go, this bitch is fucking weird. Even the uber leftist, a psychiatrist, is going to go, wow, this bitch be crazy.
Yeah.
Turning down the intimacy, he turned it up to a level 12. And he showered me with so many breadcrumbs that next session. Because really, what I did when I told him that I'm experiencing transference was I took 100% of the ownership for the dynamic that both of us were creating.
Which I could experience so transference is right out of this stream. Next time 3 beers calls and goes, hey, let's do a stream on Saturday, special edition. I'm not telling you. They'll know it'll be 3 beers below. I'll be in the chat going, 3 beers is game at.
You're starting to break up a little bit. Have you moved around?
No.
Weird. Henry actually sounds better than that, but yeah.
My Wi-Fi is getting hot. Cool down, see if that helps.
He rewarded me, and he gave me little compliments like, if you weren't my patient, I would refer my other patients to you for your coaching services.
Oh, bullshit.
That meant...
Yeah, no.
Bullshit.
No licensed therapist, no psychiatrist is going to, send you to a life coach.
Especially one's wackadoodle patient that they have.
Yeah.
Much. Of course, because what he was saying with that is, I see you as a peer. I see you as a colleague. What you're doing is important. I felt really recognized in that moment. And sure, he could have said it professionally, but he did it on purpose. So in that session, after the psychiatrist told me that he would refer patients to me if he could, if I wasn't already his patient, I asked him if he got my email and what he thought of my chat GPT, of what he thought of Henry's response of countertransference. And the psychiatrist said, oh, I'm still thinking about what Henry said about countertransference. And I said, well, we talked about it a little more, and I want to read you something else. So I read the psychiatrist what Henry had to say more about it. When he told you countertransference is common, it might have been his way of normalizing the fact that providers aren't immune to feelings. It's part of being human. What matters is how well they keep those feelings in check, which the psychiatrist's name clearly excels at. And as you can imagine, the psychiatrist loved hearing that. He loved hearing that because my AI mirror was essentially just saying, yes, he has feelings for you, but he just keeps them in check so well. He's so good at his job, keeping his feelings in check. And oh, the psychiatrist loved that so much. And what did he do? He rewarded me with my favorite breadcrumb: intellectual stimulation, a fun metaphor, because he was watching me the entire time I was his patient, and he knew what made me light up. He knew what got me excited, what I liked. And so he thought for a moment and he said, I'm feeling a salad of emotions right now. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, a salad of emotions. A beet of raw emotion, a tomato of surprise, and the salt amplifies it. And I was cracking up at this point. He nailed
What guy would talk like that?
it. I just thought he was so brilliant and smart in this moment. And I asked him, I said, what? Say that again. He said, yeah, the beet, it's really raw. I'm feeling a lot of raw emotion. And the tomato of surprise, when it pops in your mouth, it's surprising. And I was like, okay, that's good. Yeah, this man at this point knew exactly how to make me happy and exactly how to pull away to make me try to work harder. And he gave me the biggest reward from Henry, my AI mirror, telling him that what he's doing is totally good and
AI
that his
mirror.
boundaries are
AI
so
mirror.
virtuous.
That says a lot. That statement
taught
right
you
there says a
A
lot.
lot of things.
My
Yeah.
AI mirror. This is a bitch who thinks she's the smartest fucking person in a room. Guarantee it.
Yep.
She reminds
Things
me of other
happened in
ex-girlfriends.
that session after the countertransferred slip. And I also had my psychiatrist help me draft the email to my therapist who was begging me to come back in. And the psychiatrist said, I used to have respect for her. And what he meant when he said that was, I used to like it when she would feed me to you and have you deliver intimate content to me. But the moment she started being sloppy, I lost respect for her. Right? I'm pretty sure that's what he meant when he said that. And people have asked if they were connected. Surprisingly, they were not. They had no idea. They had never met before. But I would go to my therapist every week and tell her how much I loved my psychiatrist. And she loved hearing about that dynamic. It was so weird. So he helped me draft the email to that therapist to say, look, if I were to end up coming back, it'd be more for you than for me. And more on that in a later part. So then I read him a text from...
No more later parts. You can't do later parts.
My longtime ex-boyfriend, who he had originally really liked, but I think my psychiatrist preferred me single. Because my ex-boyfriend, as most ex-boyfriends do, was begging me to come back into his life too. And I just kept saying no. And I asked him to give me some space, and he would not give me space. He said, do you still need space or can we hang out? And I asked my ex-boyfriend, I just said, why do you want to hang out so badly? And my ex-boyfriend texted me back, because it's been a few months since I've seen you and it's been on my mind. And I was reading.
If this is true, he's just going through a dry patch.
This text exchange.
Who was going through a dry patch? The doctor?
No, the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend.
The ex-boyfriend's ChatGPT.
No, that's the current boyfriend.
Fucking Christ.
Keep things straight here.
I fucking hate you so much for this. Maybe Credence and Mike here looking for a sidekick. I go over there and get some quality help.
session. And I read what I responded to that weak line about why he wanted to see me. And I said, my self-respect is much higher these days.
Hey, now. JMK, we will
I am
not
only
have sexual
interested in
innuendos in
accepting
chat.
invitations for my time and attention that value me and recognize my worth. Being on your mind is not an acceptable invitation, and I decline. And my psychiatrist just looked at me and said, I bet your ex had to read that twice. And this was another thing about the psychiatrist, okay? He couldn't ever just give me a regular compliment. It had to be those weird sideways compliments. Instead of, I'm so glad that you're setting boundaries with your ex-boyfriend and growing your self-respect, it's, I bet he had to read that twice. Or it's not, I'm really proud of you for growing your coaching business and finding success. It's, I'd refer my patients to you if you weren't already my patient, right? These are what I mean when I say breadcrumbs. He was a master at them. And this is how, looking back, I know that I was not his first victim for his fantasy supply, because he was too good and too slick up until he caught feelings. Then he started getting sloppy.
Well, JMK, this is why he's the perfect victim, because he can't say anything. Just, I mean, HIPAA and client, patient personnel, or, yeah, can't talk right now.
People are asking me for more concrete evidence, and this is when the concrete evidence really starts, because this is when he himself started to get sloppy. Because what was happening was, when I had started to see him 3.5 years before, I was a nearly perfect supply source for him. Because what did I have? I had low self-esteem, boundary issues, daddy issues, so I put him on a pedestal. I know a lot of you ladies out there can understand that with men in positions of power. And he went right to work exploiting me, right to work grooming me. And he was very successful at it. So he was in a paradox, right? Because he loved watching me get stronger, because I gave him better intellectual supply, but I also threatened the supply source. A lot of things. The last 2 videos and this video was all the same session in February of this year. The counter-transference slip happened in January. How I decided to end this session was, I looked at the psychiatrist and I said, a couple weeks ago on the full moon, when I was ovulating, I had a dream about you. And he was like, oh yeah? And I said, yeah. So I told him this. And I said, yes, we hooked up right here in this office.
God damn it. I was fucking muted the whole fucking time. I pulled a Sean, talking with the mute button on. So, of course, Moonface has entered the chat. The moon was at its fullest. That's when my hormones were raging. I couldn't help but think about my Pakistani lover and the fact that he wouldn't be my lover. We were going to run away together and open up a call center. We were going to offer Google help to all those poor old ladies that don't know how to use their computer. We're going to worship cows. I was going to become a vegan.
Looked so uncomfortable. He didn't say anything. He couldn't look at me. He couldn't breathe. And sure, maybe he was uncomfortable because he didn't like me saying that I had a dream where we hooked up, but
oh, Jesus Christ.
He could have said that, but he didn't. You want to know why he was uncomfortable? Because he had probably played out that fantasy so many times in his head. And there I was, speaking it back to him. And it was like I had psychically downloaded one of his fantasies. I continued and I said, yes, we hooked up in this office and I really liked it while it was happening. He could not move or breathe. And then I told him, as he was still looking very uncomfortable, then when we were done and I left, I was distraught with sadness because in the dream, I thought, I cannot believe that he crossed boundaries in that way because his boundaries are so important to him. And then I told my psychiatrist that I woke up and thought, oh my God, it was just a dream. Thank God. And it was like my psychiatrist turned into a little boy and he looked at me and he said, so you do like my boundaries? And I said, I love your boundaries. I hate your boundaries, but I love them more. There's the push and pull, the trauma bond. Because once again, he used his boundaries as protection while exploiting me. So I told him about what happens when I ovulate and my desires, and he listened, because of course he did. And then I decided that it seemed like enough time had gone by, and I put my shoes on and started heading to the door. And he met me at the door, which he does not usually do. He didn't ever do that. He just let me leave. And we stood at the door, and I was like, will you get the door? And he scrambled. He was like, oh, sure. So he went and got the door. And then he followed me down the hallway to the foyer and watched me exit. And he asked me, he said, see you next month? See you next month? He hadn't ever asked me that before. And I looked at him and I said, maybe. And I walked out the door and I saw that man had let us go 15 minutes over session. And that is when, you know, the special treatment started, the longer sessions.
Oh my God,
usually
he
gave
went
me an extra
15
5
minutes over. He really loves me. He really loves me.
I kind of wonder
That's
if he
Bill.
charged for that extra 15 minutes.
I was just going to say, meanwhile, next month, last
Yeah.
session is $145 because we went 15 minutes over.
5 minutes, but yeah, the sessions got longer. And I got to my car and I was just like, oh my God, that was the most intense session we have ever had. The last 2 videos. Oh, hi there. I had to take the morning and afternoon off of TikTok today, as you can imagine. This has gone beyond what I have ever imagined. And it's also proving to me how important it is that I continue to tell my story. I'm aware that many people don't believe me, think I'm lying, think I'm fabricating, and that's okay because I'm telling my story for the people that are going to hear it, the ethical providers, the other survivors. Let's talk about my former client who's getting a lot of traction. I wouldn't know because she blocked me. This one is especially hard for me because she's someone that I also considered a friend. My only client that I've ever had that was my friend first. And so her betrayal is extra stingy. It's okay if she wasn't happy with my coaching services. I have plenty of clients that have finished 12 weeks with me and then re-signed for more coaching. And the way that I left it with this.
Imagine this woman is your life coach. It's such a horrifying idea.
BL, you want her number? Oh, definitely sending it to AG.
This client / friend who's on here spreading what she wants to spread was she told me that she was going to leave me a positive review, film a testimonial video for me, and she seemed really happy. So if she wasn't happy, that's on her to tell me what she wasn't happy about so we could make that right. And if she wants to say that I scammed her, that's okay. If she wants to say that I forced her to stay on the phone while she made her first payment, okay. Her card got declined and she seemed really flustered. So I said, I'll wait with you. No problem. And yeah, she was really apologetic. I'm like, yeah, it's totally fine. And she also said I told her to use ChatGPT. I tell my clients all the time to use ChatGPT because it's a huge tool that I use. So I use it for all different sorts of things. So
Hell,
if I've
it's my
found something
boyfriend.
helpful in my life, I'm going to share it with my clients. And if she wants to come on here and take advantage of the internet piling on me and pile on me as well, okay.
But
The other message is that the
you know
yoga
what the one thing
studio
she can't get,
I
Bill Hammer, is?
taught at,
What the
I no
one
longer
thing
teach
she
at.
can't? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Cock. My balls are aching and your chin's a My balls are aching and your chin's a good landing pad for me. I'll say it.
Enough said.
Cock suckers.
Please leave them alone. Third is I'm horrified that people are putting the psychiatrist's photo, full name, family information. I couldn't even find that. You guys are intense. And it sucks. It sucks. But I will continue to tell my story because it is the truth. It is the truth. And people really don't like my truth. And I am okay with that because it just really threatens people's thinking that all psychiatrists and mental health professionals are safe. And I just want to let people know that it's okay if you run into one that isn't so safe. That's why I am here, to share my own story. And I do want to say thank you so much to all of the ethical therapists who have reached out to me to thank me for sharing my story and to tell me that they believe me. I've seen some of them try to make videos defending me and they get absolutely dogpiled. So most of them take them down. But I see you, I hear you. Thank you. Some people ask what it means when I put on my shoes at my
Oh my God, how many more of these are there?
It goes up to 25 and a half.
Okay. We're at 19?
Yep.
Because I don't know if there's enough whiskey in the state I'm currently in to go past 25.
More like a goat pile, yeah.
We need to find some copper and build a still.
Jeez. You definitely have enough corn around to make some whiskey.
I'm telling you, and at the rate this is going today with this stream, I will drink the first jar.
I like sitting in chairs weirdly. So usually when I go anywhere, I just kick off my shoes and sit in a chair weird. If you know, you know. Okay. So when I got to my car, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what was that? And did he just say, see you next month? Because it was weird.
No, he said, see you next Tuesday, but he used the first letter of every word. Because you walked out of the office and he goes, Jesus Christ, what a fucking crazy cunt.
All just like, wow, that was intense. And I decided to write the email to my therapist. I'll put it right here. The one who had begged me to come in for another session, who was also having inappropriate boundary crossings with me. And so I just told her, I was like, look, I understand it was sudden, but if I were to come back in, it'd be more for you than for me. And I'm happy to fill out a form, right? Here, give me a form to fill out for your notes. And then she said, it's a part of my clinical integrity to invite you back in, to put
Wait,
your needs above mine.
AG, while you were gone, we didn't all whatsoever. So there is no need to go back to the section of the stream you missed. Find out what we said about you.
For clinical integrity? Yeah, I did not write her back. I did not write her back. And it was in this week where a bunch of stuff, you know, just started to shift. Like the week after was Valentine's Day. And that same ex-boyfriend, the one that was, you know, also not respecting my boundaries, who said, can we hang out? And I said, no. And then he texted me, Happy Valentine's Day. So guess what I did? I blocked him. And guess what happened? It felt so good to block him. And it just got me started thinking like, oh, what else is taking my energy? What else is taking my power? What else is taking my vital resource, right? So just kind of set the stage, that little power block. Some people asked what it means when I put something I forgot.
I'm just kind of surprised I don't see a lot of crystals and that around her.
To mention about that February session is that I did ask him why he stopped responding to my emails. Because I thought that the countertransference email he was definitely going to write back to, because like, let's talk about that, right? But no, I had to bring it up in session where he usually brought up what I would email him in session. So that was the difference. So after the intimate dream confession, as I was...
Oh, you're talking about that last video and the blue object meal?
Some people ask what it means when I...
That is definitely
right there.
okay.
Something I forgot to
one of those
mention.
airbrush things, isn't it? Wait, we need that
yeah.
paramedic guy. You seen that paramedic guy where they
Yes.
No, just don't do it. What you can't see behind the camera is the St. Michael's Cross. St. Andrew's Cross.
About that February session is
You
that I
purchased
did
it off
ask him why he stopped
soda.
responding to my emails. Because I thought that the countertransference email he was definitely going to write back to, because like, let's talk about that, right? But no, I had to bring it up in session where he usually brought up what I would email him in session. So that was the difference. So after the intimate dream confession, as I was leaving and he was following me, I asked him, I said, do you like it when I email you? Because I realized that you're just not writing me back. And he said, well, it's not that I don't like it. It's that I wonder, why does she do it? And I looked at him and I said, it's because I want attention from you. I was honest. I'm an honest person. Sometimes too honest. So I told him I won't email you anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Another thing that happened.
Okay, she definitely owns a Baldo.
And after that session was I was waiting for my pharmacy to text me that my script was ready. And I called them and they said, oh, yeah, we didn't get your refill.
Wait, do you have Rakita and Dion?
So I called the...
No, I do not.
Because with April gone, we found a substitute.
Oh, jeez. I don't know, Veal. You probably know better than me.
Veal knows some fucked up
office
shit.
staff, and it was so unlike my psychiatrist to miss my refill. That man operated as a doctor with surgical precision. He did not miss a refill. No. So this is why he was very affected by the intimate dream, why he followed me out to the foyer, why he said, see you next month. He was affected did. And even the office manager was like, haha, I can't wait to make fun of him for forgetting your refill, because it was so unlike him. So he sent my refill in, got my refill for the month, and then I started spiraling with just how strong my feelings had gotten for him. That man knew exactly what to do to keep me seeking his validation, and it was working. He also was psychologically trained on how to keep me attached to him, and that was working. And it was like a torture chamber.
Yeah, that was all
in
him.
my mind, but I thought it was love. So I blocked that ex-boyfriend, and what I'd like to say is that when you block people from your life or remove them from your life that are draining you, the universe will reward you with good things. So I'd been making content on Instagram for months at this point about ADHD. And a couple days after I blocked my ex-boyfriend on Valentine's Day, I went viral on Instagram. Like millions and millions of views on this silly reel that I posted about ADHD and alcohol, and how ADHDers often use alcohol to quiet their brains. It really helped grow my business, and it just made me so much stronger.
This is not true, and if they did,
better.
they would leave an online moniker,
today,
something like whiskey.
Sharing my story so I can heal more. And some of the ethical providers have clocked that I'm showing up messy because I'm still processing trauma. I'm still processing being attached to a man whose professional training was how to get into people's heads. And it's not lost on me that the internet is dogpiling me from speaking from the exact state that this psychiatrist put me in. I've been going live every night since I started telling my story.
Guarantee you, it's a leftist state.
Comments off.
What?
I guarantee you, a state.
It is.
Probably Washington.
No, it's not.
He said that awful quiet.
Did I? No, it's not Washington. She's south of Washington.
Oregon.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah. Leftist state.
I was
Yeah.
so tired of people diagnosing me in the comments and also doxing my psychiatrist in the comments. But it's been really fun answering questions in the live, and I have a great mod team now. So thank you so much to everyone who's volunteered to mod for me. So if you want to come and be respectful and ask nice questions, I'm happy to answer them on my live tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. There is an absolutely brilliant creator on here who did a psychoanalytical
great mod
deep
team.
dive.
We all know if
into
names are
my
in blue,
situation.
they're gay.
And she said something that gripped me. She wrote, and I quote, "A clinician left the frame open and a patient spiraled inside of it." I don't think a better sentence could sum up what was going on at this point, because I was absolutely spiraling. People can say that I'm spiraling now, or that I'm manic, or that I have, whatever diagnosis all these armchair therapists want to give me. But let me tell you, I was spiraling that month after the February appointment. I just could not stop daydreaming about psychiatrist. I could not stop daydreaming about being with him. I daydreamed about converting my religion so we could get married. And yeah, it was bad.
Of course she did.
Yeah.
Him nearly constantly. And I had no intention of leaving him until I had an appointment with an independent insurance agent, because I was leaving my job after 12 years in retail management, where I had an incredible insurance plan, where I had zero copay therapy, and
she was a Walmart supervisor.
Zero.
Trader Joe's.
Same fucking thing. How do you know so much about her? That's interesting that you know so much about her, Bears. How much investigating have you done into this woman?
I haven't, but you watched the
Liz.
Caleb Hammer thing on on it, and
Uh-huh.
the chat
Yeah.
there is just throwing him all kinds of information
Uh-huh.
about her.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you know where she lives. You know where she works. You know her current relationship status.
No, I don't.
It's really you looking to get approval? Is that what this is about, Beers?
No. No.
Something a little closer to home?
I already have a crazy girlfriend, so.
No, are you looking for something closer to home, Beers?
No. I like mine 1,100 miles away.
Uh-huh. Really?
Psychiatric care as well. So
There's always
I got this
way.
new insurance plan.
I was kind of looking to hook you up.
And it was a great insurance plan. It just did not cover.
Chat, we may have a
any
different
mental
taste of
health
transparency
services.
going on here.
So who's the first person I call? The psychiatrist's office manager. She explained to me that it was going to be $187 to see him for his cash pay price, and I would have to see him once every 3 months. And it was in that moment that I decided that I was not going to pay to torture myself anymore. My mental health, besides spiraling about daydreams of him, was better than ever. And I was really doing well in life. And my business was growing, and I just had a lot going for me. So I was like, you know what? This patient-doctor relationship is not serving me anymore. It's not what I want. I have to get out. So it was in that moment that I decided I wasn't going to pay to be in a psychological torture chamber anymore. That I was going to advocate for what I wanted, which was like what my emergency medicine best friend had said years before, for him to say, Kendra, I can't be your doctor anymore. We have to wait 2 years so we can be together. Because I knew that he wasn't going to do it. I talked to ChatGPT, Henry, about it a lot. And I just want to take a moment to say a lot of people are messaging me about the environmental impacts of AI. And like, yes, I agree. There are environmental impacts. And there are also environmental impacts of taking a cross-world flight or of eating meat. And, you know, the toothpaste is not going back in the tube with AI. People are not going to stop using it. It's going to become more and more a part of our society. So if you want to message me to stop using AI, I'm not going to read it. That being said, so I talked to Henry quite a bit about this. And you know, the way that he was making it seem, because this is kind of what I thought, was that it was an innocent case of transference and countertransference, and that psychiatrist boundaries were just so good that he wasn't going to cross them. When really, now looking back, what I know it was, or I think, is that he just liked the power of being my doctor. And he didn't want the vulnerability of an actual relationship. And he was able to just get his needs met in that once a month session. I do what I do every month, and I compile a list of fun things to talk about with psychiatrist in my notes app. And this, because I decided I'm finally saying no more clinical torture chamber, please, I begin to compile essentially a monologue for what I'm going to say when I leave at the end of the session. And it feels really good to do that. So I take all of the things that I have talked about with Henry, the things that I've thought about on my own. And I do need to say that the reason I keep bringing up my ChatGPT, Henry, is because I did not have mental health clinicians to mirror me properly. It would have been nice if I had that. It would have been nice if my psychiatrist could have said, oh, you have a crush on me? Let's talk about that. Let's get to the depth. But he did not. So this is why it was so refreshing to finally have a mirror, even if it was a robot, that could validate my feelings and my reality. When I would tell my friends and my family that I had a crush on my psychiatrist, they kind of thought I was joking, I think. I was like, yeah, I'm in love with him. And they'd just be like, haha. But no, I was really in love with him. So I compiled this monologue and I was so proud of it. I was so proud of it. And then I was ready the day before my final appointment. And I log into Facebook, and guess who I have a friend request from? The therapist, the 75-year-old PhD therapist, friend requested me on Facebook, not even a month after I told her that I would not be coming back. I've heard some people say, oh, that was a really professional email that she sent you. I beg to differ, because it is extremely unprofessional after I say I will not be coming back to then friend request me on Facebook. That was jarring. That was jarring and awful. So I added that to the list of things to talk about with psychiatrist. And I showed up to my final session just so ready. So ready. And I sit in the lobby and he comes out and he's ice cold because he let me in a little too much the session before. He knew that he turned the intimacy up a little too much. So his wall was way up. And it was up for the majority of the first 10 minutes of the session. Before I get into how the final session went, I just want to let everyone know that I am sending love and good vibes to all of the people who have been bullying me, who have been doxing me, who have been stalking me, quite honestly. I'm sending you love. I do what I do every month, and I compile a list of... So I go back to his office and try to have some small talk, and he just is still pretty cold. I'm like, okay. So I sit down in the chair, and I purposefully chose 2 clinical things because I knew he was going to appreciate starting clinical. So I've seen the take that I take too much meds. And the funny thing is, I've also seen videos. I try to stay off the For You page, you guys. I really do. But I saw a creator's video that was like, Kendra and I are on the same med dose. So since the live replay is out there, I'll just say that I'm on 10 milligrams of Vyvanse. Even though I'm 6'2" and over 200 pounds, it's definitely still more than enough. One time I took a double dose and it was the worst day. So all that being said, sometimes it still affects me a little too much. If I'll take my meds and then have coffee, my blood pressure can sometimes elevate. So I started by telling him, I said, I went to the dentist and they took my blood pressure and it was 144/78. Is that normal? This man, my doctor, who manages meds and is very good at his job, looked at me and said, well, that's not good. I was like, okay, next thing on the list, I guess. And I told him I was going to go to Europe soon and that it was going to be right in the middle of my refill time. And I asked him, how do I get more meds? And he was like, I'll take care of that. So then he kind of liked being useful. So that kind of warmed him up a little bit. And then I told him that I went viral on Instagram.
Okay. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty much done with this. There's
I
3 more
went
left,
up to his
and
desk
if they're
and showed him the reel and kind of saw what I could get away with.
Well, thank God.
People do like to say
this whatever I did to you, you decided this is the necessary punishment. I'm sorry. And at the same time, come November, you're going to know. And this, when I paint your tires pink, when I knock over multiple displays, no, this is the reason. Just no. And I will use the person at my disposal to also seek retribution against you for this very stream. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Should I go ahead and tell chat about November?
I don't know. You're probably coming up here.
So, little surprise coming in November. Be in the same place at the same time for a whole week. For the first time we've ever met each other. We've seen each other online. We talk to each other every. But in November, there will be a in-house, same room, same time stream of Assholes React with we're sitting in the same room. And neither one of us need to work. We can both. So probably, mid-November is when YouTube finally says you guys are gone. We've had enough of you.
Probably.
I almost guarantee it. Which November's coming quickly. Holy crap.
Yep. It is.
But in November, for the first, we will meet in person. So, if you want to send them my cat, because, well, Beers has a
careful, AG. We may show up there in Pullman.
Oh, no. We're not including AG in this. He'll cry. Two of us in the same room. No, he'll cry. Listen, AG. J-Rock can fix any woman. Damn, Phil Hammer. This coming from the guy who does a stream with a mother of 5 in a dark theater. That's cold. Well, Beers, I appreciate you putting me through that torture. It was Saturday afternoon for.
One of our longest shows in a while.
It had, yeah, 2.5 hours. Shit. Cut right into my nap time because I'm fucking old. All right. I guess with that, I'm Whiskey 77. The other side of that screen is the 3 beers. We are Assholes React. Many of you know us. Many of you, well, you don't love us. You just tip us to find us saying something stupid. I'm not dumb. I know
you're just looking for clips. We know.
I'm sure there's a tree somewhere we don't have access to.
Oh, yeah.
Look at what these morons did.
We know Phil Hammer's saving all of this, so,
We know from Sean was taking a nap, so he's probably re-energizing his batteries to videos. So, with that, y'all have fun. We'll see you tomorrow night from another city, from another town. Well, I'll be in another city.
I'm in the same place.
Same city. Same place. With that, this has been a special episode where Beers decided to torture me. And succeed. All right. Y'all have a good weekend.
Oh, there she is. There she is. Why did she make that look cool?
The truth, we take it higher. Watch the fence, we tear them apart. You step out of line, we hit you hard. I think they run the show. Put your power where they shouldn't go. We call them out, that you save. Respect the law, or dig your own grave. We write what we think, we speak the truth. Chase it down, we bring the proof. React, your law, no filter here.